Hello ladies, and I am super excited to bring you this video because I think that this is something that is a skill that has to be mastered, right? And there are certain little things that I'm going to give you today, certain tips that I'm going to give you to help you with this. But at the same time, I want you to know that the clarity and the ease of this is going to come just the more that you do it, the more that you put stuff out there, the more that you write, the more that you create, it's going to get easier and easier. It's just like anything else. It's just like, a muscle that you have to exercise, right? In order to get really strong and really, really good at this. So what I'm talking about is creating riveting copy and also creating programs that sell themselves. So the first thing I want to talk about is the programs. So I have launched I don't even know. In Infusionsoft, I have about 150 products. So some of them are like duplicates and, different versions of things. But really, I have launched so many things, free, paid, paid challenges, all kinds of things. So my muscle for this is, to me, it's like, it's so easy, right? So I'm just going to give you today the tips for creating something that feels really good for you, but also is really beneficial for your audience. And also, I want you to know that when I talk about copy, and I'll talk about that in the second half, I'm not a copywriter. I feel like copywriters have a real skill. Copywriters are able to write in somebody else's voice. Copywriters are able to know the words, certain words that you have to use to get somebody to click a buy button. I don't know how relevant that is actually in our industry and in the work that we do and the people that we work with, because I really feel like people are attracted to our energy, our aura, how we come across, right? So, us making sure that a certain word is in front of a button or something doesn't matter as much as some of the things that I'm going to be talking about. So anyway, let's backtrack, go back to the program. So, for me, like I said, I've created so many programs, but I've also been involved in so many programs. I've also bought so many programs, everything from courses, memberships, all the way through masterminds, live events, all of that kind of stuff. So, I kind of know what it is, right? And I know what I'm attracted to. I know what people really enjoy. I talk to people that, have been in my programs. I've talked to people who have been in other programs and just have listened. So I think that that's the first thing is to listen to your clients, listen to your ideal clients, look at some of your past stuff and say, maybe why didn't this program work? Or why wasn't this as enticing as I thought it was going to be? Or, why didn't people get results in this specific course? And then you kind of have to course correct, right? And decide what to do from there. So the first thing I really started doing a couple years back was thinking like, what would I want in a program, right? Because a lot of times I felt like some things were dismissed mark. So if it was a course or a mastermind or a live event, I kind of would always think like, man, I wish this happened, or I wish I got more of this, or I wish that it was structured this way. So I think that, our ideal clients typically have the same ideas as us. They typically have the same buying decisions as us. They typically have the same kind of like energy and aura, right? Like that's why we attract them. So think about that first. It's like if you think about, courses that you've been in, programs that you've been in, masterminds, retreats that you've been at, what have been the things where you're like, I wish it had this, or like, this was a perfect program, but I wish it had a little bit more of this, or I wish it was a little bit longer, or I wish it was a little bit shorter, or I wish we only had one call instead of two. Like, what are the things that you most want? I think that's a really good base for creating something that your ideal clients are also going to feel like, this is the bomb, this is awesome. As far as deliverability, I think that this is really important. And I know that we're talking about how to create a program that sells itself, but the reality is that it sells itself when your energy is behind it and when you are feeling really extremely good about it, that it's something that you can help people in, and you're just like, you can't wait to get started, right? And so this kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the intuitive launching of, what is a hell yes for you in terms of deliverability? And not just creating something that you think people want. So for example, I'm going to use the 10K lab as an example because you were all in this group. Now I could have designed the 10K lab to have a little bit more one-on-one. You know, I could have said there's going to be one-on-one calls for you in the beginning and there's going to be one-on-one calls for you at the end. However, I knew that, man, if I have 15 or 20 people in here, I don't want to do 40 calls. I just am not in that space or place where that's exciting to me. And so I chose to not do it that way and only offer like this one-on-one access through Voxer for people who paid in full, you know? So that was kind of my solution. Now, if I thought like, yeah, more people are going to say yes if they also get this one-on-one time with me, maybe more people would have said yes, but probably not, because I wouldn't have been excited. And so, you know, if I had stayed in my head about, oh my God, I'm going to have to do 40 calls if I enroll 20 people, then I would have probably only attracted like 10 people or maybe 5, right? Because then it was like, oh, well, now I don't have to do 40 calls. Now I only have to do 10, right? So that's what I mean in terms of what feels really good for you deliverability wise, because if there's anything that feels off about it or anything that feels like it's going to be too much work or anything that feels like it's going to mess with your bandwidth, you're going to subconsciously sabotage. So make sure that deliverability is 100% hell yes across the board for everything. And, you know, really creating that space that feels so good for you that you can't wait to sell it, that you can't wait to tell people about it, that you can't wait to enroll people and start this program. Because again, like I said, that energy and that fire and feeling so good about that is what's going to sell the program, right? The next thing is more doesn't always equal better. So this is something that I had to learn the hard way when I first created my first like business building course. I was just like, oh my God, I have to give everything, right? Like I have to give people everything that I know, and it's got to be this, this, and this, and you know, all of this stuff. And guess what? My clients they enjoyed the program, but they didn't finish. They didn't get results because it was too much. So really think about, versus thinking about content and, you know, what you have to give them and giving them more and more and more, think about how can I give in the most effective way? What is the thing that is going to move the needle forward for them the quickest, the easiest, and the most effectively? Where am I giving them transformation versus just piling on a bunch of information? How can I get my clients to action? How can I get my clients, you know, moving forward? How can I have them feel like they're super, super supported, not just by throwing a bunch of content at them? I mean, I don't know about you, but I know when I have or if I like look at somebody's sales page or I, you know, look at a program or something and they lead with, you're going to get 800 hours of content and 6,000 worksheets. I don't want that. I don't want that. Like, even if I, you know, was maybe semi-interested in the program, I don't want it now because I don't want to go through 6,000 hours of video or audio or whatever. I just don't have the time to do that, right? So think about less is more, right? Less is more. Think about transformation. Think about forward action, movement versus bogging someone down with a lot of content, right? I know we always feel like it's better to like give more, especially if we're thinking about bonuses or fast acting things. It's like, well, how can I give them more and more and more? Don't think about it that way. Think about how can I give them something that's really going to help them, right? And really move them forward. And most of the times it's not content, right? So I went from my first course having about 5.5 hours worth of content in each module to less than an hour in every single module. So it's less than 8 hours for 8 modules. But there's no fluff. I'm straight to the point and it moves people into action. So this is why so many people have gotten results. And I'm talking about my Captivate course. This is why so many people have gotten results through that program, is because I focused on action, implementation. Same thing with the 10K lab. You know, as you know, there was no set curriculum. There wasn't, you know, hours of things for you guys to go through. There wasn't, you know, workbooks for you to fill out. Yes, I gave you content and yes, I gave you stuff, but it was all relevant, right? It was all relevant to what you needed. And it was all quick trainings, right? Like quick bite trainings. So again, just more is not always better. Just want you to remember that when you're creating something. Make sure that your program is results oriented. It always has to be results oriented, right? So again, this kind of goes back to the information thing. Like, we don't just want to pile people with information. Like, so say for example, you're doing a course on branding. You don't want to just give them a bunch of information about branding. You want them to walk away at the end of that program having a irresistible brand that they can use for the next 5 years in their business. So just be very results oriented when you're creating your programs and when you're also selling your programs. So there's not really a whole lot there as far as like creating the programs besides the things that I said, like how do you make it irresistible? What would be irresistible to you? Also taking the knowledge of courses that you've been in, things that you've experienced, things that you've heard from customers or your peers or your friends, and then using that to create something that's really freaking epic. Okay, now we're going to dive into copy. And like I said, I'm reminding you that I am not a copywriter. I'm really a good writer, but I'm not a copywriter. I think that there's two very distinct things there. Now, lucky for me and lucky for us is that in our industry, in this coaching industry, people are buying us, right? Like people are buying our energy, they're buying our story, they're buying who we are versus buying, you know, like the program, right? Like they're buying us. So we can be a little bit more flexible about how we put our content out there and don't have to be so rigid with like the copywriting rules because they may or may not work on people, right? Like I think a lot of the copywriting, like the direct sales copywriting is geared towards people who have no clue who you are. They just maybe see an ad, they see a Google ad, they see an affiliate thing, and it's very like, you know, very structured to get somebody to do something, right? Whereas like, that's not the business that we're in. We want people to experience our magic. We want people to experience our expertise. And that is the business that we're in. So I'm going to give you some tips now on like how I write copy easily. And that feels really good. So the first thing I'm going to do is just say, don't overthink it. Again, that's just something that we always do, right? It's like, it's got to be this way or it's got to be that way. It doesn't. All it has to do is speak to your ideal client, right? And so the first tip I have is speak from your heart. Like literally, don't think I'm writing a sales page copy and it has to be this and it has to have that, right? Don't think like that. Like literally think about someone that you love, someone that you care for, has the problem that you can solve. How would you speak to that person? Whether that's your friend, whether that is your sister, a cousin, somebody really close to you, like write copy from that space. That's going to be like your introduction copy. That's going to be the stuff that's going to really grab someone when they land on your page. So stop trying to think about it's got to have these bullet points. It's got to be the structure. Think about how would you talk to someone that you care for and that you love that has a problem that you can solve, that has a problem that can be solved by your program or your offer. And I want you to create the copy based on that. Like that's going to be your foundational base copy. Now remember, we can always go back and fill in the blanks, right? Like we can always go back and add things that are missing and talk about the benefits and talk about the features, which I'll talk about in a second. But that first core piece of content for your copy is going to be you just speaking from your heart. I say like write it like a letter, like literally say like, dear Kelly. Like Kelly's one of my friends that I've been friends with for over 30 years. So I would say like, dear Kelly, you know, like I wouldn't put the dear part on the sales page, but like actually write it like, what would you say to her, right? Because that's going to allow you to write with ease, write with flow, not overthink, and just really speak from your heart and your soul. The next thing you want to do is know what the symptoms are. One of my great coaches used to say to me, you need to learn how to speak symptomese. And basically what that means is like, what are the actual symptoms? Like, what are they going through right now, right? So if, again, I take the 10K lab, it was you are stuck at a certain income level, right? You have capped yourself. You maybe have backslid in your income. You know that you're good at what you do. You're kind of like, what the F? Why am I not where I'm supposed to be? Why are all these other people getting this credibility and recognition? And why am I not there yet? Right? Why am I stuck? So really think about like, what is your ideal clients? Like, what are the symptoms they're going through right now? Is it a lack of income? Is it that they're overwhelmed? Is it that they don't have boundaries? Is it that they're, you know, getting into a fight with their husband every night? Is it that, you know, they feel like they are missing out on opportunities because they don't like the way they look? So really think about like, when I say symptoms, how is this showing up in their life? What are the symptoms of whatever it is that you can solve? And you want to start to talk about those things because that's what's going to connect with them. That's what's going to resonate with them and make them feel like, I probably need this, right? So speak symptomese. The next thing is hit them where it hurts. So it's kind of an extension of the symptoms, right? But what is the thing that really is going to get them, right? Because we buy on emotion, right? And, I'm not a proponent of like the negative marketing, but I do feel like we need to bring people back to the reality. So speaking about, here's the symptoms, here's where you are right now, right? This is what you're feeling, this is what you're going through. You might be experiencing this is how it's showing up in your life, this is how it's showing up in your business. Here's the aspiration now. Right? Like, what's the aspiration? Is to have a business with ease and flow, to have a business that's bringing in, $10,000 every single month without fail, or $20,000 every single month, to have a team on board who is doing all the things that you don't want to do, to be working with the most amazing ideal clients. So like, what's the aspiration? And then bring them back to reality, right? Because we can all dream and we can all think and we can all want, but just because we want something doesn't mean that we're going to take action to get it done. So by talking about the aspiration and then kind of bringing them back to reality of like, yeah, this is what you want, but this is what it looks like right now, right? And it's kind of the same thing that would happen on a sales call, is just figuring out like, here's where you want to be, here's where you at, where's the gap, right? And creating space in that gap, like opening up that gap more and more so that they really feel like, I'm so far away from the aspiration right now that I need to do something about it, or else I might not ever have that, right? So hit them where it hurts, talk about the aspiration, but then boom, bring them back down to, here's the reality now. So if you need $20,000 a month to survive, if $20,000 a month is your goal, and right now you're only making $5K a month, every month that goes by, you're losing $15,000. Every month that passes, you're losing more and more money. So, why not invest some of that money now so that you can have this consistency later? That's just an example for the money. And then, like I said, like once you have those things in place, then you can go back and like get all technical with it, right? Like then you can go back and you can move stuff around. Then you can go back and you can start talking about the logistics. You can start talking about the features and the benefits. So I want to make a quick note about the difference between features and benefits. I think you all pretty much know what it is, but I need a reminder sometimes. So I'm going to also give you guys a reminder. Is the features are going to be things like the logistics, like how many calls there are, how many, weeks, how many weeks long it is. Are there workbooks? Are there modules? Like, so what are the actual like stuff that they're getting when they invest? That's the features. That is much less important than the benefits. So the benefits are, what are they actually getting in terms of change, in terms of transformation when they invest in this program? So is it that they're going to be healthier? Is it that they're going to have a better schedule and healthier boundaries? Is it that they're going to have a better relationship with their husband? Is it that they're going to be enrolling ideal clients like clockwork? So really think about like, what's the benefit? And then on top of that, what is the benefit of the benefit, right? So this is something that I think, we forget to do, right? So what is the benefit of the benefit? So if the benefit was, that you're going to have a healthier relationship with your partner, the question I always ask is, so that. So you're going to have a healthier relationship with your partner so that you're not fighting every day and you actually save your marriage, or you can, not get divorced, So always think about like, what's the benefit? And then so that. So the benefit, but why? What is the benefit of the benefit? What is the result of the benefit? The more of those that you can have in your copy, the better, right? So I'm going to help you create sustainable income so that you can get off the income roller coaster. I'm going to help you attract only the most ideal clients so that you don't have to work with clients that aren't showing up, that aren't paying, and that are always asking for discounts. I'm going to help you, create a schedule that works for you so that you can have family time and spend time with your kids and still, continue to create a thriving business. So what is the benefit? So that benefit. And then, like I said, the more of those you have, the better it's going to be. And talk about why those things are important, which is the benefit of the benefit. You really want to drum up excitement, right? Like you want to get people really connected to whatever it is that you're selling, right? And, sometimes this is hard. It's hard sometimes if you have intangible stuff. So if you have something that's intangible, like clarity or mindset, confidence, those are all things that I feel like are really, really important. But other people might feel like, but like, I really don't want to buy confidence, or I don't want to buy mindset. So, what is if you're selling confidence, something that's intangible, what is the result of the confidence? What is the benefit of the confidence? You're going to have more confidence so that you can charge higher prices and enroll better clients. That is the benefit of having something that's intangible. So anything that feels intangible, like clarity or whatever, make sure that you connect it to and tie it to something that is tangible. So, if I had clarity, what does that mean? How does that show up then in my life or in my business, right? So for the copy, it's going to be speaking from the heart, speaking to their symptoms. What does it look like now? What is the aspiration? Bringing them back to reality. Don't worry about the technical stuff right off the bat. Like literally just write all this stuff out. What are the benefits? What are the benefits of the benefits? What are the features? What are they actually, logistically going to get in terms of calls, PDFs, modules, etc. And really that's it. And then once you have all that kind of like brainstormed out and put on a document, then you can start to fill in the blanks. Then you can kind of say, okay, well, this actually, this part of the copy feels better here. Don't lead with the logistics. So many people lead with the logistics, and it's like, I don't care. Like, I don't care if there's 1,400 calls. I don't care if there's 8 PDFs. I don't care if there's 10 modules. What I care about is if I'm going to hand you my money, what am I getting? What is the result? There's somebody that actually did this really good, and it's interesting because I don't really buy into courses and programs anymore because I have so many, I've owned so many, I've bought so many. I'm kind of like over that right now in this part of my business. But I had someone come to me I signed up for something and they were just so specific about what the results were, right? Like the results, and it was something super simple. It was just like, I'm going to help you make more course sales without launching. Like that was it. It was so clear. It was so succinct. And I'm like, yeah, I want more course sales without launching. So automatically I download the thing. Now I'm like filling out this application to talk to the guy, which is so weird because I don't really do that. But I felt like he was so clear and so concise about what that result was going to be if I paid them money, if I paid them a lot of money. I don't know how much the thing is, but if I know that when I do this thing, that I'm going to get a specific X result, I'm all about it. I'm into it, right? So as much as possible, make sure that you are letting your people know that there is a promise, right? And I'm not saying guarantee your work or anything like that, but there is a promise. Like if, I'm going to deliver everything you need to create X, right? So get as clear as possible as you can with that, and you'll be able to sell your things like hotcakes. So that's it for this lesson, guys. Let me know what questions you have below, what comments you have. What do you think about this? And here's the thing, it shouldn't really take you a long time. I think the reason why it takes a long time is because we are editing ourselves, we're filtering ourselves, we're thinking it has to be a certain way. But like I said, if you can just, write the letter to the person that you are trying to reach, write the letter, write the benefits, write the features, put it all together, you're done. Right? And if it's something that you're really connected to and something that you're really excited about, it should be very easy. Like it literally should just flow. So anyway, guys, that is it. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. Please let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. And if there's any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them if you put them in the comments. So I will see you guys soon. Bye.